Do you want to accept the offer that's been made by Mr. Reynolds, or do you want to move forward with the trials?
Your Honor, yes, I thank Mr. Reynolds for making the offer for the 4 lowest price tickets out of the 12. Upon having reviewed them, they were all done on on the occasion of 2 separate dates in October. I have since replied to Mr. Reynolds that I am willing, for the sake of everybody's time, resources, and also my not so well health-wise condition, that I would plead to 2 of the most recent ones out of that 12 that is on trial today, and pay that, and of course, and only request that, of course, Mr. Reynolds recommend to the court to dismiss the other 10 with no late fees and so forth. So, Your Honor, I have, in good faith, of course, I also asked to
Let me
pay.
pause it for a moment. Let me just pause because I don't want to be involved in the negotiations. It sounds like there's an offer and then a counter offer. I'm happy to allow you to have 5 minutes if you all want to discuss that and see if you can get it resolved. But I probably shouldn't be in the middle of that conversation. So we can do it this way. Do we have a breakout room that we've got created? Do we have one?
Yes, we do.
Mr. Reynolds, do you want to have a quick conversation with Mr. Lau?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so we're going to send you an invitation, Mr. Lau, to join a breakout room with Mr. Reynolds. That way you and he can have a private conversation. And then after you've had that conversation, we'll have you both rejoin the main session. So don't leave the meeting, just rejoin the main session after but first thing will be is to accept the invitation to the breakout room. And then when you're done with the conversation, rejoin the main session.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll see you all in just a few minutes. We can go back off the record. Mr. Reynolds is as well. Mr. Reynolds, can you share with us where we're at?
Your Honor, I had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Lau, and thank you for your patience, but I don't believe that there's any sort of agreement to be had.
All right, so we can just get started with the cases. Then we'll start, and I think it makes sense to start chronologically from the oldest case to the newest case. So the case that
Your Honor, may I make a statement first before we start with and go in sequence with all 12? Your Honor.
Yes, if it's brief, go ahead.
Yes, of course. I try to
it's never
discuss
brief
with Mr. Reynolds, but we did not arrive at something mutually agreeable to present to the court. I am now at this trial with the 12 tickets. I'm dealing with these 12 tickets. They were all issued over 2 separate date time, October 22nd and October 14th. At our last trial, Your Honor, we have dealt with some that were issued on October 14th. I have raised at the last trial the perception.
Did these all appear to be a fair and accurate representation?
I can't give you legal advice as to what the impact is.
Back office documentation.
Based on once again, today is 12 tickets.
Sorry, I
dealt with
tried to move the caption.
Quite a few tickets earlier, on various earlier dates earlier, and if nothing else, it would definitely have the perception by a third party that it is targeting. However, I am not the final person. I'm not the person to decide on that, but I simply wish to save the court some time. If all of these 12 tickets could be stayed, or this particular 175 slash PK can be stayed, or whatever, I would be filing with the district court, and of course be serving the city, the case, and so forth. And that, if nothing else, would save the municipal court tremendous amount of time, either today or over the next while, to deal with whatever other remaining tickets that I have been issued by Boulder Parking. So I would.
Mr. Reynolds, do you want to respond to that?
That would be my request.
Your Honor, the city would oppose a motion to continue at this point, and furthermore, I don't believe that that we need to have a judicial decision on these tickets before an appellate court could look at what we're doing here. So that would be my position on this request.
Yeah, I'm going to deny the request for a continuance or a stay. The cases wouldn't even be ripe for a Rule 106 action or for an appeal from this court until the cases have actually been addressed by this court. So that request is denied.
Thank you. What's Rule 106, Your Honor?
That's a rule of civil procedure. Rule 106 is the rule by which people, either that or an appeal of a municipal court, depending on the type of case it is, would take an issue up to the district court. But there is nothing that the court's aware of that would allow a peremptory filing before a court has actually ruled on a citation. So at this juncture, that motion is denied. We'll go forward with the trials. It's now almost it's 1:25 and we still haven't even started the trial. So we need to get moving quickly here. All right, we'll start with case number 704079. This is a ticket with the allegation is a violation of section 7624B of the Boulder Revised Code, allegedly occurring on October 14th of 2024. And I'm looking for the address. The location is in the 4600 block of Sioux Drive is the allegation. Okay. So are we ready to proceed on that case, Mr. Reynolds?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Your first witness.
And at this time, we'd call Officer Sean Croto to the stand.
All right, Officer Croto, if you'll come forward, if you'll raise your right hand. You swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, thank you, officer. And whenever you're ready, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Officer Croto.
Good afternoon.
Could you spell your name and, could you say your name and spell your last?
Yeah, my name is Sean Cruto. My last name is spelled Crotea.
And what do you do?
I work for parking services.
And what do you do for parking services?
I enforce parking violations and assist with special events.
And how long have you done that for?
For a little over 5 years now.
And as part of your job, do you sometimes investigate parking violations?
Yes.
What sort of parking violations do you investigate?
We service a litany of violations, everything from abandoned vehicles to vehicles parked in a hazardous way in the street, like crosswalks, stop signs, fire hydrants, driveways, anything safety related.
And were you working on October 14th of last year at about 2:43 in the afternoon?
Yes.
Did you find yourself in the location of 290 Pawnee?
Yes.
Was that in the city of Boulder, state of Colorado?
Yes.
And are you familiar with that address?
I am, yeah.
And that address, is there a cross street there known as Sioux Drive?
Correct, yes.
How is it that you're familiar with 290 Pawnee?
We receive parking complaints from numerous people around the location asking to enforce safety violations right at the intersection, and then also to service abandoned vehicles in that area as well as specifically to service the violation for camper RV trailers.
And all of the exhibits that I'm going to reference, PE 1 through 12, has been provided to Mr. Lau electronically. I don't have any physical documents today, but I'm going to publish PE 1 for the purpose of laying the foundation here. So Officer Croto, it's going to appear on the screen behind you, so you'll need to be like turning around a little bit. But do you recognize the pictures that I have up on the screen here?
Yes.
And how is it that you recognize that?
These will be the pictures for my citation.
And PE1. Is five photographs. And then the bottom part of the screen here is part of PE1. See if I can get any bigger. There we go. What is that last page of PE1?
Oh, so this right here is going to be the Ames back office documentation of the citation that was issued that day.
Okay. And so you recognize these pictures?
Yes, yeah,
Did you take these pictures?
I did, yes.
Are they of Mr. Lau's vehicle?
Yes,
Do they appear to be a fair and accurate representation of the scene as it appeared on October 14th of last year?
yes.
I move to admit PE1 into evidence.
Mr. Lau, any objection to the
No
PE
objection, Your Honor.
Prosecutor Exhibit 1? No objection. That exhibit will be admitted.
And Officer Croteau, DNP Z37, is that license for a trailer?
Yes.
And who does that trailer belong to?
Mr. Michael Lau.
And what were you doing with this trailer on this day?
Oh, so on this day, we were just serving a checkup for complaints that we had served on the 11th.
And what did you do on the 11th with this trailer?
So on the 11th, we had chalked the vehicle for abandonment. And then also because it's also an unhitched trailer, we had specific complaints about trailers being stored on the city street for the other ordinance that pertains to.
And on the 11th, were you there in the late morning, early afternoon before 2 p.m.?
Yes.
And on prosecution exhibit 1, can you talk about, did you observe whether or not this vehicle had moved?
This vehicle didn't move at all.
And so was it in the same location as it had been on October the 11th?
Yes.
And so had this vehicle been parked at this location for more than 72 hours?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite follow the question. Did you say that you were talking about the 11th and then were you talking about a different date?
Yeah. So, so Officer Croteau, when did you chalk these tires?
These tires were chalked on the 11th.
And did that occur before 2 p.m.? On the 11th, chalking.
Yes, yeah.
And then on the 14th, you came back out to check the vehicle?
Yeah.
And on the 14th, according to your observations of the chalking, had the vehicle moved?
No.
And so had the vehicle on the 14th been in the same location for more than 72 hours?
Yes.
At this time, I don't have any other questions for Officer Croteau.
All right. Mr. Lau, do you have any cross-examination or questions for Officer Croteau?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. Mr. Officer, once again, so you said part of the duty, your duties, of course, the duties of the officers from border parking, is that what was that things on the driveway or hazardous things on the driveway? That is part of your group's mandate.
Yes.
That's what you testified earlier.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Sorry, can you hear me?
I can. Yeah, can you hear me?
No, please, if you have answered me, please repeat the answer. I did not hear you.
I'm not sure if you could hear my response. I'm not sure if my mic is set up to the Zoom.
Are you able to hear Mr. Lau, to hear the witness?
Hello, hello, hello.
Let's just pause for a second. Mr. Lau, could you hear Officer Croteau right there?
I can hear you, Your Honor. I cannot. I can see Mr. Reynolds walking. I cannot. And I haven't touched any of my settings.
We're going to pause for a moment, see if we can get the microphone situation squared away.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I don't know if there's anything to hear to do to. Yeah, this line goes directly into the wall, so there's nothing to change or alter.
I've never had to set this one up before.
Let's see this. Mr. Lau, can you hear this?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
I can hear you talking at that mic.
You have the witness sit over here. Okay.
Will he be able, the question is, will the camera pick him up?
I think the camera might pick him up better because I don't think Mr. Lau can even see the witness.
Okay, let's try just moving. You don't need to be in that specific seat, so let's try moving to.
I can only see you and, okay, of course, I see the officer now.
All right, can you hear me?
Very
Mr. Lau,
softly.
Why don't you speak nice and loud, officer, if you will?
No problem. So yeah, to your question, so we enforce all kinds of things, everything from, abandoned and inoperable vehicles, and then also vehicles that present a safety hazard. People are blocking a driveway, are less than 20 feet from a crosswalk, 5 feet from a fire hydrant, stuff like this. And then also we do enforce, vehicle and yard as well.
Thank you. The safety hazard, is there a municipal, code? Those wonderful numbers that I'm absolutely not familiar with.
Yes, we do. We have a variety of them. We have everything from, 5 feet from driveway, park the wrong way on the street, 5 feet from a fire hydrant, 20 feet from the crosswalk, 30 feet from a stop sign, less
No,
than 10 feet. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. Thank you. I understand those things in general terms because I've been able to look those things up previously, but it's the specific, whether it's whatever, 78 dot whatever, that deals specifically with the safety hazard and more specifically now to some of the evidence that has already been submitted, the photos that you've taken. In this case, it is the not too close to the crosswalk. Is not a concern in this case because that is way past the 20 foot. But of course, I do recall you did mention based on your chalking, it has been there for over 72 hours.
Yeah,
have
sure.
I been able to summarize some of the information correctly?
Correct, yes.
He's chalking
Okay,
your
but
parking.
on the specific safety hazard in the driveway, is there a certain municipal code referring to that? Because I noticed that there is a code for each ticket or whatever that I've received. I'm just
Mr. Lau,
asking for that.
Mr. Lau, let's talk about just the one charge here. There's one charge in this case, which is a violation of
Sorry.
section 7624B, and that's the allegation is that the trailer was parked for more than 72 hours on a city street. So that's the only issue.
No
before
further
the court.
questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Any other questions from you, Mr. Reynolds?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Does the city rest?
Yes, I apologize. Yes, we did.
Okay, so the city has rested their case on this particular citation. Mr. Lau, did you have any evidence that you wanted to submit, either calling a witness or testifying yourself?
No, Your Honor, I do not have any additional evidence to submit. It's something we've dealt with the previous trial on for tickets issue on the 14th for the trailer that it was immediately behind this green for the trailer that was immediately positioned.
The only question I
trailer.
asked is whether you have any other evidence. So if you could just say yes or no, that would, and then if you want to
No, Your Honor.
Okay, and I will give you a chance to make a closing argument if you'd like, but I want to kind of move the process forward expeditiously. All right, so there's no evidence being offered by the defense. Closing argument. Mr. Reynolds, did you want to give a closing?
No, Your Honor. I'll wait. I'll no closing.
Do you want to give a closing argument, Mr. Lau?
Your Honor, no closing argument for this, but I just want to help the court and all parties involved in here to speed up some time. This should be merged, as Your Honor educated me at last trial. This should be merged with ticket 080. So, but I have no further closing comments for 079.
All right, so on this particular case, the allegation was that the defendant was the registered owner of a trailer that was parked for longer than 72 hours on a city street. The evidence that I have comes from Officer Croto, who I found to be a credible witness. He indicated on October 11th, he came to the address of 290 Pawnee, which is also right next to the 4600 Sioux Street location. Noticed that there was a vehicle, a trailer that was parked there. He chalked that trailer for abandonment under section 7624 before 2 p.m. on October 11th. He returned on October 14th. The vehicle had not moved based on his review of the chalk marks on the vehicle. He determined that the vehicle had been in the same location for more than 72 hours. Section 7624B states that no camper, motorhome, or trailer shall be parked on any street except as followed. And then it says, when located directly on a street frontage of a single family or multifamily dwelling, the vehicle's registered owner for a consecutive period of 48 hours or less. And in this case, the evidence showed that that the vehicle was parked there for greater than 72 hours. And so I am convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that there was a violation. There was nothing that contested that this was the vehicle that was owned or registered to Mr. Lau. So I will find the defendant guilty of that charge. I will take up any issues that Mr. Lau raises with respect to merger as we go through the cases, and I will indicate whether they merge. But at this juncture, this is only the first case. So we'll just turn to the next case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And case number 704080 is the next case. So give me a moment. I'll pull that one up. And this is an allegation that a vehicle was a violation of section 7620 of the Boulder Revised Code, alleging that the vehicle in question in this case was parked for greater than 72 hours under that code. And the allegation that this occurred at the 4600 block of Sioux Street on October 14th of 2024.
Your Honor, based off of previous rulings, because this is so similar to the case that we just had, same vehicle, slightly different code provision, but alleging on the street for too long, the city would just move to dismiss this one. So we could just move on to the next one.
Okay, so the city's motion to dismiss is granted. That charge then is being dismissed. That one I just described, it ends with the 6 digits of 704080. And so we can turn to case number 704082. I'm pulling that up now. This is under section 7623 of the Boulder Revised Code. There's an allegation that on that same date, October 14th at 2:51 p.m. at, I believe, 290 Pawnee, the allegation is there was a violation of section 7623, which is failing to have a valid registration or license plate for a vehicle. And are both sides ready to proceed with that citation?
Your Honor, if I may, once again, trying to save everybody, the court's time and everybody, all the parties involved as well. Is there a way that I can either plead no contest or whatever, and for you to then quickly rule right away, and then we move on to the next? Because that way, I believe we can finish it all in half an hour or less.
So you're willing to just simply plead guilty or admit that the violation on that one? Is that what you're saying?
Would I be pleading guilty or no contest?
You could plead no contest.
Sorry, once again, I do not know.
No, that's fine. You could plead no contest. When you plead no contest, just to make a clear record, it means that you're not contesting the citation. So that means that it would be a finding by the court that would allow for the penalty to be imposed, the financial penalty on that charge, much the same as a guilty plea.
Oh my God. If you were going to do that, then why didn't you just let them
No contest doesn't mean it goes away. It just means that you're acknowledging responsibility for the citation.
Yes, but it also does not diminish any of my rights to seek further recourse in a court of law. Does it not, Your Honor?
I can't give you legal advice as to what the impact is of a no contest. I can explain to you what it means to the
Appeal,
court's perspective,
plea.
but I can't tell you how it impacts your rights, your appellate rights. That would be for either a lawyer to give you advice or for a court at a higher level to determine whether you've given up your right to contest the citation or to appeal the citation. So I just can't answer that
Okay.
for you.
No, thank you, Your Honor. Once again, I appreciate the information. So, but if I may still try to speed up everything, I would waive the need for the prosecution to call Mr. Officer to testify and all that stuff, because I have received
Mr.
the file
Officer.
information electronically already. So I also do not have any opening statement. Maybe if we can just quickly so it's not only for this one, I would like to do the same for the other ones. If we can if I may be able to just have move to closing statement and for me and the prosecutor, and then for judge for you to rule on it.
No,
Because
you got to put the evidence
I've
in.
been through this and I'm
The other
learning
stuff, yes.
a tremendous amount. And of course, I do take responsibility for this. And that's why I'm appearing before you, Your Honor.
I'm not quite understanding what you're saying. If you want to admit the violation, then you would say, yes, I'm pleading guilty or I'm pleading no contest, but you would be admitting that you committed the violation. If you don't want to do that, we can have the trial. And I think we could spend 10 minutes going back and forth about what all this means, or we could do the trial and it could be even less time than that. So I'm not sure it saves the court time to have this long colloquy about the meaning of it, especially if it's going to ultimately result in you not getting the outcome that you want with respect to the appellate rights that you may be waiving when you plead guilty or no contest. So it may be better to simply go forward with the evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, we'll follow the court's.
Okay. So this case number 704082 is the allegation that the vehicle that
Judge
was
is
registered
Fully
to Mr.
figuring this
Loud
out.
did not have a valid license plate. So Mr. Reynolds, did you want to give an opening statement?
No, Your Honor, we'll waive it.
Mr. Loud, did you want to give an opening statement?
No, Your Honor, I'll waive it.
All right. First witness for the prosecution.
And Your Honor, is it okay if I sit?
It is.
We'll call Officer Sean Croteau to the stand again.
You can stay right where you are, officer, and just remind you that you're still under oath as you were just a few moments ago when I swore you in.
And we would ask the court to take judicial notice of all the introductory material for Officer Croteau, where he works, what he does, what his duties are, how long he's worked there, that sort of thing.
Mr. Loud, do you have any objection to me taking judicial notice of that prior testimony?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll take judicial notice of the prior testimony of where the officer works, the location, his experience, things of that nature.
And Officer Croteau, on October the 14th, you were doing some traffic enforcement out at 290 Pawnee.
Yes.
And did you find yourself investigating the white pickup truck's plates?
Yes.
And I'm going to share Prosecution Exhibit 3 for Officer Croteau to see up on the screen. And this has been shared with Mr. Lau. And Officer Croteau, do you recognize what I'm showing you on the screen here?
Yes.
How is it that you recognize it?
These are photos for my citation that day.
And did you take these photos?
Yes.
And I'm just going to kind of go through them. If you could just look at the screen, there are 5 photographs and then a printout from the parking services system. Do these all appear to be a fair and accurate representation of the photos for this violation?
Yes.
I move to admit Prosecution Exhibit 3 into evidence.
Mr. Lau, any objection to Prosecution Exhibit 3?
No objection, Your Honor.
Prosecution Exhibit 3 will be admitted.
Officer Croteau, looking at this picture here, can you make out when this plate was expired?
Yeah, it was on August 8th. I think it was 2024.
And you took this picture on October the 14th of last year?
Correct, yes.
So a little bit more than a month after these plates had expired?
Yes.
And who did this vehicle come back registered to?
Mr. Michael Lau.
And was this in the area of 290 Pawnee, City of Boulder, State of Colorado?
Yes.
And this here, is this just a better view of the plates?
Yes.
Do they appear to be expired at this time?
Yes.
I don't have any other questions for Officer Croto.
Mr. Lau, do you have any questions for Officer Croto?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Any other evidence for the people?
No, we rest.
All right. People have rested their case. Mr. Lau, do you have any interest in presenting testimony or offering evidence on your behalf on this charge?
No, Your Honor.
Defense is rested. Any closing argument from the city?
No, Your Honor.
Did you want to give a closing argument, Mr. Lau?
No, Your Honor.
This charge alleges that the defendant was the registered owner of a vehicle that did not have a valid license plate under section 7623 of the Boulder Revised Code. The evidence in this case comes from Officer Croto, who I found to be credible and reliable. He indicated on October 14th, he took a photograph which is identified as People's Exhibit, Prosecution Exhibit 3. That exhibit shows a temporary plate that was to expire on August 8th of 2024. Clearly on October 14th, this particular vehicle did not have a valid registration. And so the court will find the defendant guilty of that violation. And we can turn next to case number 704083. Pulling that one up now, I can tell you what this one is. This is also a valid license plate allegation under section 7623 of the Boulder Revised Code from October 14th of 2024, again at the 290 Pawnee location. Are the parties ready to proceed on that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you
Yes,
ready
Your
to
Honor.
speak on that, Mr. Lau? Okay, thank you. First, opening statement from the city.
We waive, Your
You
Honor.
want to give an opening statement, Mr. Lau?
Yes, Your Honor. Once again, I actually would be more than happy to accept into evidence all the photos and so forth submitted by the city. I just like to know if there is a similar merger type criteria with this and additional tickets for the same vehicle, but on separate dates for exactly the same violation. And that would be, in this case, that would be, for example, ticket, 241, the second last of the 12 that we are dealing with today.
So we'll address that merger argument when we get to
Okay.
that case. So I'll do it kind of chronologically. If there's another charge that court finds that is merged for sentencing purposes, then I will certainly take that up. So I'll put a note here that you raised that issue, but we'll address it in case number 704241.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else as far as an opening statement?
No, Your Honor.
All right, first witness then for the prosecution.
We would call Officer Sean Croto again,
All right, Mr. Croce, I'll just remind you, you're still under oath.
Yes, Your Honor.
and we would just make a similar judicial notice for the introductory type testimony from Officer Croto.
Any objection to the court taking judicial notice of the introductory testimony from Officer Croto?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, I will take judicial notice of that prior testimony. Go ahead, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Officer Croto, again, did you find yourself out at 290 Pawnee on October the 14th doing parking enforcement?
Yes.
And did you, I'm gonna actually just share my screen here and show both you and the court prosecution exhibit 4. And I'm just gonna quickly go through the images here. Do you recognize these images, Officer Croto?
Yes.
How is it that you recognize them?
These appear to be the photos from my citation.
And in particular, in this instance, you were out there on October the 14th and conducting, I'm sharing things I don't want to share, at about 2:53 p.m. So the license plate, why would you have taken this picture of this license plate here?
It's just to prove that the temporary plate had been expired.
Okay, so did you issue a ticket, sorry. I can't remember, I'm sorry, I didn't make a note of it. I moved to admit People's Exhibit 4 into evidence.
Any objection to Exhibit 4 being admitted into evidence, Mr. Lau?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, Exhibit 4 will be admitted.
Okay, thank you. So this first picture that you took here, you took this on October the 14th of last year,
Yes.
and this picture demonstrates what?
That the temporary license plate that's been affixed to the vehicle was expired.
And who was registered owner of this vehicle?
Mr. Michael Lau.
I don't have any other questions for Officer Croteau.
Mr. Lau, any questions for Officer Croteau?
None. No, Your Honor.
Any other evidence for the
Oh, we
people?
rest, Your Honor.
People have rested their case now. Mr. Lau, did you want to put on any evidence in this particular case?
No, Your Honor.
Closing arguments, Mr. Reynolds?
We waive.
Mr. Lau, did you want to give a closing argument?
No, Your Honor.
All right, on this case, the allegation is that on October 14th of 2024, the defendant was a registered owner of a vehicle with an invalid registration. The evidence comes from Officer Croteau, who I did find to be credible and reliable, indicated that he went to this location at 290 Pawnee on October 14th, observed this vehicle that was registered to Mr. Lau, and the license plate was a temporary license plate that expired on September 20th of 2024. I am convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant did violate the ordinance by having a vehicle that did not have a current registration. We'll find the defendant guilty of that charge.
Oh,
And the
man,
next
I
case
got
that we
to
have
get
is case
together.
number 704087. I will pull that up now and describe what that one's about. This is a vehicle in yard citation. So this comes under section 7623 of the Boulder Revised Code, allegedly occurring at the 4600 block of Sioux Drive on October 14th at 3:15 p.m. Parties ready to proceed on that charge. Mr. Reynolds?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lau, you ready to proceed on that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Opening statement from the city.
We waive, Your Honor.
Opening statement, Mr. Lau.
Yes, Your Honor. So I don't have the complete file in front of me, but I believe this exact trailer in the same exact location was addressed on another ticket at an earlier trial. So I simply would ask the court to note whether the merge or merger aspect also applies to this trailer, because this trailer, photo of this has been shown in court on several occasions already. So once again, I'm requesting whether it is a merger issue or if it is always separate.
And you'll have to indicate to me, but are you alleging that they gave you the same ticket twice, or is it from different dates?
Unfortunately, I cannot access the tremendous amount of information that Mr. Reynolds' office has sent to me earlier. But if I would have to, I am not 100% certain it's not the same date, but it may be on a different date, but it's exactly location, exact everything else.
Well, let me just be clear that if there was a duplication of a charge for the same date, time, and location, but it have to be the same date, time, and location where they issued you the same charge, or where they issued you a charge that was encompassed by another charge. For example, an officer can't give a ticket of speeding 10 miles an hour over the speed limit and then give one for speeding 19 miles per hour over the speed limit and have two separate citations. Those would merge if they were all from the same date, time, and location. But without any other evidence from the defendant to indicate that these were from the same date, time, and location, I'm going to deny the request to merge those. If there was evidence presented, I would consider it, but I don't have any evidence before me. So if you present anything during the trial to give me something to consider, I will consider it. But other than that, I can't go simply on a memory of saying, I think this could have been brought up before.
And Your Honor, at the last set of trials that we had on January the 16th, the same vehicle that's alleged in the violation that we're about to hear was on October the 11th was a ticket issued for a vehicle in the yard for this vehicle, and we're about to proceed on an allegation that it was in the yard on October the 14th.
So the city does have the right to proceed with separate dates of violation. If that's the only evidence that or information that I have, I would deny a request for merger, if that makes sense to you, Mr. Lau.
Thank you, Your Honor, it does.
Okay, so then are we ready to proceed with the evidence in this case? Your first witness, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Your Honor. Call Officer Sean Croteau.
Officer Croteau, I'll remind you, you're still under oath.
Yes, sir.
And we'd ask the court to take judicial notice of all the introductory testimony as we have previously.
Any objection to me taking judicial notice of that prior testimony for Officer Croteau?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lau. Go ahead, Mr. Reynolds. I will take judicial notice of that prior testimony.
Thank you. Officer Croteau, were you in the area of 290 Pawnee on October the 14th of what? Last year?
Yes.
And were you continuing to do some vehicle parking enforcement?
Yes.
And did some of that enforcement involve vehicles that were parked in a yard of a private residence?
Yes.
And I'm going to publish here what's been marked as prosecution exhibit 5, which has been shared with Mr. Lau. And Officer Croteau, do you recognize these images that I'm sharing on the screen right here?
Yes.
How is it that you recognize them?
These are pictures from my citation that day.
And did they appear to be a fair and accurate representation of the scene as it appeared on October 14th at about 3:15 in the afternoon?
Yes.
I'd move to admit prosecution exhibit 5 into evidence.
Mr. Lau, any objection to exhibit 5?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, exhibit 5 will be admitted.
And Officer Croteau, the vehicle in question for this violation, which vehicle is it?
This is going to be for a trailer that's parked on the side yard on the 4600 Sioux side of the 290 Pawnee property.
And so the trailer, is it kind of the tan colored, tall, wooden trailer that's depicted on the second image of prosecution exhibit 5 that has kind of the vertical license depicted about a third of the way from the left in the middle part of the screen there?
Yes.
Okay. And that particular license, who does that trailer come back registered to?
Mr. Michael Lau.
And did you observe this trailer parked in a yard of a single family residence?
Yes.
And this picture that I'm showing you here, which is the fourth picture in prosecution exhibit 5, there's again, tan colored box looking object in the upper right side of the photograph. Is that the trailer in question?
So on this day, there's two trailers that are parked side by side. Mr. Michael Lau was there that day, and I did give him an opportunity to move these trailers off the property. And his response was just to go ahead and write him citations. But yeah, there are two trailers side by side parked there. One of them has like gray walls, almost looks like an aftermarket thing. And then there's another orange trailer next to it.
Okay, but for this ticket, which is ending in 4087, the license plate is attached to the gray wooden type trailer as depicted in prosecution exhibit 5.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And which was it 290 Pawnee? Was that the address of the house that this was parked in the yard of?
Yes, on the 4600 Sioux side of that property.
Okay, then I'm going to show you the 6th image in this series. Is this depicting the same trailer just in the yard there?
Yes.
I don't have any other questions for Officer Croteau.
Mr. Lau, do you have any questions for Officer Croteau?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Do the people rest at this
We
point?
rest, Your Honor.
The people have rested their case. Any evidence that you'd like to put on, Mr. Lau?
Sorry, cannot hear you, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Any evidence that you'd like to put on?
No, Your Honor.
Closing arguments then.
We waive our closing argument.
Mr. Lau, did you want to give a closing argument?
No, Your Honor.
I will then enter my ruling. This case alleges that on October 14th of 2024 at the 4600 block of Sioux Street and 290 Pawnee, kind of a cross section there on that street, there was a vehicle, a trailer that was registered to Mr. Lau. It was parked on the side yard in violation of section 7623B. Officer Croteau testified, and in addition, Exhibit 5, which has a number of photographs, established that there in fact was a vehicle that was registered to Mr. Lau, parked in the side yard. I will find the defendant guilty of that violation. And we can turn now to case number 704088.
Remember, he was offered.
And this is again a violation of section 7623, a vehicle in a yard allegation from October 14th of 2024 at the 4600 block of Sioux Street. Is everybody ready to proceed on that? Mr. Reynolds?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lau?
Yes.
Do we have any opening statement from the people?
We waive, Your Honor.
Mr. Lau, did you want to give an opening statement?
No, Your Honor.
First witness for the prosecution.
Thank you, Your Honor. We call Officer Sean Croteau.
And Officer Croce, I'll just remind you, you're still under oath.
Yes, Your Honor.
And we again request the court take judicial notice of the introductory testimony as we have been doing.
Do you have any objection of me taking judicial notice of the introductory testimony that I heard earlier from Mr. Officer Croteau? Mr. Lau?
No, no objection, Your Honor.
All right, we'll take judicial notice of that prior testimony. And whenever you're ready, Mr. Reynolds.
And good afternoon again, Officer Croteau. Did you find yourself doing some more parking enforcement over at 290 Pawnee on October the 14th at about 3:16 p.m.?
Yes.
And was there, were there some vehicles in a yard of a single family residence?
Yes.
Did you take some pictures?
Yes.
I'm gonna publish what's been marked as prosecution exhibit 6. And Officer Croteau, can you just take a moment just to look at the screen?
There's
and
no good reason for it.
review these as I kind of leaf through them. Do you recognize these photographs that I'm showing you on the screen here?
Yes.
How is it that you recognize them?
These are going to be the photographs that were attached to the citation.
And did you take these photographs?
Yes.
Did they appear to be a fair and accurate representation of the scene as it appeared on October the 14th at about 3:16 in the afternoon?
Yes.
I move to admit prosecution exhibit 6.
Mr. Lau, any objection to prosecution exhibit 6?
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 6 will be admitted.
Officer Croteau, this license plate that is attached to this orange trailer, who did it come back registered to?
Mr. Michael Lau.
And this orange trailer, where was it parked?
It's going to be parked on the 290 Pawnee property on the 4600 Sioux side.
And was it parked in the yard of this 290 Pawnee?
Yes.
I'm looking at this photograph here. What does this photograph depict?
This is a picture of that vehicle in question in the yard.
I don't have any other questions for Officer Croteau.
Mr. Lau, do you have any questions for Officer Croteau?
No questions, Your Honor.
Any other evidence for the people?
We rest, Your Honor.
People have rested. Mr. Lau, would you like to present any evidence on this case?
No, Your Honor.
And would anyone like to make a closing argument? Mr. Reynolds?
We waive.
Mr. Lau?
No, Your Honor.
I will find the defendant guilty of this charge. The evidence comes from Officer Croteau, who I find to be credible and reliable, that on October 14th, he took a photograph which is depicted in People's Exhibit 6, which shows a vehicle with that is parked in the yard. That vehicle was registered to Michael Lau, and I will find the defendant guilty of that violation. All right, we'll turn now to case number 704234. This is also a charge of a vehicle parked in the yard from October 22nd of 2024 in violation of section 7623 of the Boulder Revised Code, allegedly occurring at the 4600 block of Sioux Drive. Are the parties ready to proceed on that case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, both parties ready to proceed. Any opening statement from you, Mr. Reynolds?
We waive.
Mr. Lau, any opening statement? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Mr. Lau. Did you say something?
Oh, no,
No opening statement for you?
Oh, no opening statement, Your Honor.
Okay. Then we'll go ahead and call the first witness for the prosecution.
And we would call Officer Sean Croteau.
All right, officer, I'll remind you that you're still under oath.
Yes, Your Honor.
And we would ask the court to take judicial notice of the introductory testimony as we have been doing.
Any objection to me taking judicial notice of the introductory testimony from Officer Croteau? Mr. Lau?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll take judicial notice of that prior testimony. Go ahead whenever you're ready, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Croteau, did you find yourself on October 22nd at about 3:03 in the afternoon back at 290 Pawnee in the city of Boulder, state of Colorado?
Yes.
Were you doing some parking enforcement there?
Yes.
Were you doing, did you find any vehicles in the yard?
Yes.
I'm going to publish what's been marked as prosecution exhibit 7. And Officer Croteau, can you just look at the screen real quick here? Do you recognize these photos as I kind of leaf through them on the screen?
Yes.
How is it that you recognize them?
These are the photos that were part of my citation for that day.
And do they appear to be a fair and accurate representation of the scene as it appeared on October 22nd of last year?
Yes.
I move to admit prosecution exhibit 7 into evidence.
Mr. Lau, do you have any objection to exhibit 7?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, exhibit 7 will be admitted.
And Officer Croteau, this photograph here depicts a license plate. Who did this license plate, who is this license plate registered to?
Mr. Michael Lau?
And this picture in prosecution exhibit 7, what does it depict?
It's just the front end of the trailer with what appears to be an aftermarket gray wall that surrounds it.
And this trailer, where was it located?
It was on the 290 Pawnee property on the 4600 Sioux side.
And what is it sitting on top of?
It's going to be sitting on top of the lawn.
And I'm sorry, did you say the lawn?
The lawn, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, the lawn.
And the lawn, does it belong to a single family house?
Yes.
I don't have any other questions for Officer Croteau.
Mr. Lau, do you have any questions for Officer Croteau?
No, Your Honor.
Any other evidence for the people?
No, Your Honor, we rest.
Any evidence that you'd like to put on, Mr. Lau?
I have no evidence to submit.
Okay. Closing arguments, Mr. Reynolds?
We waive.
Would you like to give a closing argument, Mr. Lau?
Yes, in this case. So once again, for the benefit of all parties, if the legal concept of merge or merger does not apply on different dates, and if there are other legal concepts that, of course, the defendant is simply not aware of, that applies to the same vehicle trailer being ticketed repeatedly at the same location on various days, whether that would be a merge or whether that would not be a merge, that's I only ask the court to consider that.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you for that, Mr. Lau. So the only evidence I have here is that this was on October 22nd. The other dates of alleged violation were from other dates. And as I mentioned earlier, in the court's view, the city has the authority to issue a citation on basically, as long as it's not the same date, time, and location, they have the authority to issue a subsequent citation, even if it's for the same alleged violation. In this case, I don't have any evidence that this was a duplication of a prior citation from the same date. And for that reason, I will deny the request to merge this ticket into anything else that may be out there for the defendant. And based on the arguments I heard, I'm going to just make a quick finding. I do find the defendant has violated section 7623 on October 22nd of 2024. Officer Croteau, who I found to be a credible and believable witness, did testify that he went to the location at 4600 Sioux, which is also part of the residence at 290 Pawnee, saw the vehicle that was parked in the yard, and that vehicle was registered to Mr. Lau. People's Exhibit 7 corroborates that testimony. I will find the defendant guilty of that violation. And let's turn to case number 704. Go ahead.
Quick interruption. Sorry. Couple slides quickly flash while Your Honor, you were issuing your order. Chris, was that you flashing some things, or was it just some documents and or whatever else? Was that you or somebody else in the courtroom flashing those?
Who's flashing me?
And I apologize. I'm sharing my screen to share these exhibits, and so I might have clicked to a different window and then I stopped sharing. So that might have been what you were seeing. But I was
Okay, that's fine.
Next to trial.
And I'll be clear, I wasn't looking
Yes, I
up.
am.
I was looking down at my notes, so I didn't see anything that was being scrolled on the screen.
Yeah,
Busted.
it was, but thank you, Mr.
Flashing in
Reynolds.
court.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's turn to the next case, case number 704235. And this is a vehicle and yard citation issued on October 22nd of 2024 at the 4600 block of Sioux Drive, an alleged violation of section 7623 of the Boulder Revised Code. Is everybody ready to proceed on that case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lau?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any opening statement from the people?
We waive.
Any opening statement from you, Mr. Lau?
No, Your Honor.
First witness for the prosecution.
Thank you, Your Honor. We call Officer Sean Croteau.
And Officer Croteau, I'll advise you, you're still under oath.
Yes, Your Honor.
And we'd ask the court to take judicial notice of the introductory testimony once again.
Any objection to that, Mr. Lau?
No objection.
All right, I will take judicial notice of the prior testimony of Mr. Croteau with respect to his occupation and his history in that occupation. Go ahead, Mr. Reynolds, when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Croteau, on October 22nd of last year at 290 Pawnee, you were doing some more vehicle parking enforcement, correct?
Yes.
And were there multiple vehicles parked in the yard of that address?
Yes.
And I'm going to show what's been marked as prosecution exhibit 8. And Officer Croteau, if you wouldn't mind just looking at the screen and looking at these pictures here that I'm showing you, do you recognize these pictures?
Yes.
How is it that you recognize them?
These are photos from my citation that day.
And did they appear to be a fair and accurate representation of the scene as it appeared on October 22nd at about 3:03 in the afternoon?
Yes.
I move to admit prosecution exhibit 8 into evidence.
Any objection to Exhibit 8, Mr. Lau?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Exhibit 8 will be admitted.
Officer Croteau, this picture here of the license plate, who did this come back registered to?
Mr. Michael Lau.
And the second photograph here, what is this orange vehicle appearing thing in this photograph here?
Yes, that's just maybe the back end of an orange trailer that was parked on the 46 Sioux Drive side of the 2900 Pawnee property.
And what was that trailer parked on?
It was parked on the side lawn.
And is this just the image of the front of the trailer here?
Correct. That's going to be the front end of the trailer.
And but immediately behind to the right of the trailer, is that 290 Pawnee, the actual house?
Yeah. Yep.
And is this in the city of Boulder, state of Colorado?
Yes.
I don't have any other questions for Officer Croteau.
Mr. Lau, any questions for Officer Croteau?
No questions, Your Honor.
Any evidence, additional evidence from the people?
We rest.
Any evidence that you'd like to offer in this case, Mr. Lau?
No, Your Honor.
Any closing argument from the people?
We waive.
Would you like to give a closing argument, Mr. Lau?
No, Your Honor.
The court will find that the defendant is guilty of this violation. The evidence that I have comes from Officer Croteau and People's Exhibit 8. It does show in that exhibit that there was a trailer with a registration on that trailer that was parked in the yard. Officer Croteau testified that that registration came back to Mr. Lau as the registered owner, so I will find the defendant guilty of that violation of having a vehicle parked in the yard that you were the owner or registered owner of. And we'll turn to the next case, which is case number 704236. This case alleges that on October 22nd around 3:05
That really
p.m.
sucks.
there was a camper
Really,
RV or
really.
trailer that was parked in violation of section 7624B of the Boulder Revised Code. If my memory serves, that 7624B is the allegation that a vehicle was parked for longer than 48 hours on a city street. A trailer was. Are the parties ready to proceed?
We are, Your Honor.
Mr. Lau, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Any opening statement from the people?
We waive.
Any opening statement from you, Mr. Lau?
No, Your Honor.
First witness for the prosecution.
Thank you, Your Honor. We would call Officer Sean Croteau.
Mr. Croteau, I'll just remind you, you're still under oath.
Yes, Your Honor.
And at this time, Your Honor, we would ask the court to take judicial notice of the introductory testimony of Officer Croteau.
Any objection to me taking judicial notice of that prior introductory testimony?
No, Your Honor.
I will take judicial notice of that testimony. Go ahead when you're ready, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Croteau, I want to draw your attention to October 22nd of last year at about 3:06 p.m. Did you find yourself continuing to do some parking enforcement at 290 Pawnee?
Yes, I did.
And is 290 Pawnee in the city of Boulder, state of Colorado?
Yes.
I'm going to share what has been marked as prosecution exhibit 9. Officer Croteau, if we could draw your attention to the screen, if you wouldn't mind just taking a look at these photographs here. Do you recognize these photographs that I'm leafing through right now?
Yes.
How is it that you recognize them?
These are going to be photos from my citation that day.
Did you take them?
Yes.
Did they appear to be a fair and accurate representation of the scene as it appeared on October the 22nd of last year?
Yes.
I move to admit prosecution exhibit 9.
Any objection to the admission of exhibit 9, Mr. Lau?
Have we seen the aims yet, or did I just miss it?
I didn't hear you. See the what?
Oh, yes. No objection, Your Honor.
Okay.
The aims report, pardon me.
Mr. Reynolds was pulling that up for you as we spoke. I get you. Okay. So no objection to exhibit 9?
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 9 will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Croteau, in this photograph, we see that there's a license plate. Who did this license plate come back registered to?
Mr. Michael Lau.
In the second photograph, can you tell us what we're looking at here?
Yeah, it's going to be the trailer.
And is it the same trailer that the previous photograph had the license plate affixed to?
Correct, yes.
And Officer Croteau, I notice here, did you issue this trailer a ticket on October 22nd?
Yes.
What was that ticket for?
This ticket was for a camper RV trailer.
And what was like the violation alleged for the ticket?
Oh, that the camper RV trailer was parked in the same place for over 48 hours.
And I notice on the tires as depicted in the third photograph in prosecution exhibit 9, both of these tires appear to have some sort of yellow marking on the side that's kind of facing the viewer. Can you tell us what that yellow marking is?
Yeah, that was the chalk remaining from the initial startup on the 11th.
And your purpose of chalking and tires is?
We do, yeah. So that's going to be to prove that whether or not a vehicle has moved 0.2 of a mile or not.
And based on your investigation on October the 22nd of this trailer, did it appear to have been moved since October the 11th?
No.
And what tells you that?
The driver left wheel is still flat, and then also the chocks still remain on the driver's side.
So did this appear to be still parked in this same location and not been moved at all since the 11th?
Correct, yes.
I don't have any other questions for Officer Croteau.
Mr. Lau, do you have any questions for Officer Croteau?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. It's only because I couldn't hear clearly whether the officer said it was chalk on 10, 11.
Yeah, well, you're breaking up a little.
Chalk on some other
Mr.
day.
Lau, and Mr. Lau, you're breaking up a little bit from the audio. So it may be that you don't have
Okay.
the best bandwidth. What I'm going to suggest is when you're asking questions, why don't you turn off your video and that'll increase your bandwidth for your audio and it'll be easier to hear. So why don't you go ahead and turn off your video right now?
Turn off the, oh, when I click stop video,
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
but if I do that,
Plus, we're tired of looking
the
at
whole
you.
thing is being recorded still, right? Oh, okay.
Everything's still recorded when you do that. We just won't be able to see your face while you're asking questions.
Thank you. Your Honor.
And that should
Okay.
help
You
should
hear-
help us be able to hear you. Go ahead. Yes.
Oh, okay. I see. It's only my segment. So, I couldn't hear clearly earlier when the officer testified whether the chalking was done on October 11th, because Mr. Reynolds was also commenting while the officer was, so I could not hear. So when was it chalked specifically for this 10/22 ticket? Sorry, October 22nd ticket.
So yeah, this chalk was placed on this trailer on October 11th.
October 11th.
2024. Yeah.
That's the same chalk that you testified earlier on ticket ending in 080, which has been dismissed, but 079. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Because
this
those-
so this chalk was placed when the abandonment process had begun on this vehicle on December 11th, 2024 at 11:16 a.m. in the morning.
Did you say December 11th?
Oh, I'm sorry, October 11th. I misspoke.
Okay.
I do apologize.
So this was, and I believe we will. Okay. No further questions for the officer. Do I turn my start video again, or do I?
Yeah, you can turn your video back on.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. No additional questions from Mr. Lau. Anything else from you, Mr. Reynolds?
No, Your Honor, we rest.
People have rested their case. Mr. Lau, did you want to give any testimony?
No, Your Honor.
Right. Closing arguments, Mr. Reynolds?
We waive.
Mr. Lau, did you want to give a closing argument in this case?
Yes, Your Honor. Maybe I have to do this again.
Yeah, it might help.
So, yeah, thank you, Jan. So, based on the officer testifying that it was chalk on 10th, 11th, and there has been already tickets issued for this vehicle, sorry, this trailer, but of course, defendants just find it perplexing. Now, if there were new chalk marks done to support this 7624B after the October 11th, that would be more reasonable. However, that's so defendant is simply perplexed at the procedural aspect that border parking would use much earlier chalk mark that has resulted in tickets and just continue using the same, practically the same photos as well and so forth. Well, at least the same camera phone taking the similar pictures, just to keep continuing.
He needs to use a different camera.
Justifying the issue.
That'd make you feel better.
The tickets. With
Get out
that,
of here.
Defendant rests.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lau. So I think I understand what Mr. Lau's argument is, although I do find that the city has the authority to use whatever evidence it deems appropriate to establish that there was a violation. What they have to prove is that this vehicle on this particular date violated section 7624B of the Boulder Revised Code. Section 7624B requires that the city prove that there was a camper, a motorhome or trailer that was parked on a city street in excess of 48 hours. To the court's mind, it doesn't matter whether they used a photo from October 11th or another one if they established beyond a reasonable doubt that the vehicle didn't move for 48 hours prior to the date of the issuance of the ticket, which was October 22nd. And there wasn't any evidence to contravene the testimony of Officer Croteau that the vehicle appeared to not have moved, and that was substantiated by his exhibit that was introduced at People's Exhibit 9, which shows that the chalk marks that were there on October 11th and again on October 14th were in the same spot, as was the fact that the vehicles, one of the tires was flat. And so the court is convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that that vehicle did not move for the 48 hours preceding October 22nd. So I will find the defendant guilty of that violation. And let's turn to case number 704-237. And that is a similar allegation of a violation of section 7624B alleged to have occurred on October 22nd of 2024 at approximately 3:06 p.m. at the 4600 block of Sioux Drive. Are the parties ready to proceed in that case? Mr. Reynolds?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lau?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, first witness for the prosecution.
And we would call Officer Sean Croteau.
Mr. Croce, I'll just remind you that you're still under oath.
Yes, Your Honor.
We would request once again that the court take judicial notice of the introductory testimony of Officer Croteau.
Any objection to that, Mr. Lau?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, I will take judicial notice of the prior testimony, introductory testimony from Officer Croteau. Go ahead, Mr. Reynolds, when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Croteau, once again, draw your attention to October 22nd of last year. Were you doing additional parking enforcement at 290 Pawnee?
Yes.
And is 290 Pawnee in the city of Boulder, state of Colorado?
Yes.
And I'm going to publish what's been marked as People's Prosecution Exhibit 10, which has been furnished to Mr. Lau. Officer Croteau, I'm going to leaf through these photos. Can you tell us whether or not you recognize what I'm showing you in Prosecution Exhibit 10?
Yes, these appear to be the photos in the back office documents for the citation that was issued that day for that trailer.
And did you take these photos?
Yes.
They appear to be a fair and accurate representation of the scene as it appeared on October 22nd of last year.
Yes.
Move to admit Prosecution Exhibit 10 into evidence.
Mr. Lau, any objection to Exhibit 10?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, Exhibit 10 will be admitted.
Officer Croteau, in the first photograph in Prosecution Exhibit 10, there's a license plate that's kind of askew here. Who did that license plate come back registered to?
Mr. Michael Lau.
And what was this license plate attached to?
Was attached to a large trailer.
And why were you taking photographs on October 22nd of this trailer?
I was providing a checkup for complaints, issuing citations in this area. This vehicle had been unmoved since the 11th of October for the chocks on the tires.
I'm showing you the third photograph in Prosecution Exhibit 10, and I can see some yellow markings on the tires, the sides of the tires that are facing the viewer of the photograph. What are these yellow markings?
That's going to be the physical chalk that was used to chalk the vehicle on October 14th, or I'm sorry, October 11th.
And did you chalk these particular tires on the 11th of October?
Yes.
And what does chalking do?
The physical chalk is to provide proof whether or not a vehicle has moved 0.2 of a mile.
And based on your observations of the chalk on this vehicle on October the 22nd, did it appear to have been moved from its location since October the 11th?
No.
And so how long at least do you think this trailer had been there on the 22nd when you viewed it?
So it would have been at least from the 11th of October. That's when my watch officially started on this trailer. And the 22nd, everything remained unmoved.
I don't have any other questions for Officer Croteau.
Mr. Lau, any cross-examination for Officer Croteau?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Stop. So, my question is not specifically on the chalk dates and so forth, because the court has addressed that earlier. But my question is that because they were both based on, now of course we're on ticket ending in 237, but we just completed ticket ending in 236, a different trailer, but right next to each other. One, the parking, unless I hand copied the information that was supplied by Mr. Reynolds, the fine for 237 is 60, and the fine for 236 is 40. 236 would have been the green trailer. Is there a size issue category for the fine, or is there or with the same code you can dispense different fines? I'm only
That's a
asking
question
the
for you,
officer.
Officer, if you know that.
So there's going to be graduated fines that are associated to this BRC for the camper RV trailer. So the first citation, if my memory serves me correctly, would be $30. The second would be 45, and the third would be 60. Everyone after that would be 60 going forward. Now, if you don't pay it within 14 days, there could be a late fee associated to it, but that's out of my realm at that point.
I am fine with that answer. No further questions.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Lau.
Oh.
Any other questions for you?
Okay,
Hold on a second, Mr. Lau. I just want to double check with Mr. Reynolds. Are you done asking questions, Mr. Lau?
yes, I am.
Okay. Mr. Reynolds, any questions for you?
Arrest.
All right, the people have rested. Mr. Lau, did you want to put evidence on case number 704237?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Defense is rested as well. Any closing argument from the people?
We waive.
Any closing from you, Mr. Lau?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I will find the defendant guilty of this charge. The allegation shows that on October 22nd, the Officer Croteau went to the location at 290 Pawnee, which is at the 4600 block of C
I want to
Street
number
as well.
down the ticket. I want to fight
Indicated
that.
there was a trailer that came back to be registered to Mr. Lau, and it had been parked on that same street since October 11th. He was able to determine that based on the chalking that he did on October 11th, indicated that the vehicle had not moved since October 11th. And as a result, under the 48-hour rule that's required, a trailer cannot be parked on a city street for longer than 48 hours. The court will find the defendant guilty of that violation.
Will you shut up? Huh? Now we see the violence inherent in the
Let's turn to
system.
case number 704241. This is a valid plates ticket. Mr. Lau had made an argument earlier. We won't rule on that argument, but I just want to make sure you're aware. Mr. Lau, I'm aware that this is the one that you wanted me to consider the possibility of merger with a prior citation. So we will take that up as we hear the evidence. So in closing argument, you can make an argument. Right now, I haven't seen what the evidence will be on that. So, but I am aware that that may be an argument that you want to raise. Are both parties ready to proceed on case number 704241?
Which is number one. Wrong.
Mr. Lau, are you
Yes,
ready on
Your
that
Honor.
case? Okay. Opening statement from you, Mr. Reynolds.
We waive.
Mr. Lau, did you want to give an opening statement?
No, Your Honor.
First witness for the prosecution.
I'll call Officer Sean Croteau.
All right, Officer Croteau, I'll remind you that you're still under oath. The allegation in this case is an invalid license plate allegation from October 22nd of 2024 at 3:18 p.m.
Yes, sir.
And I'll just remind you, you're still under oath.
Yes, sir.
And I'd ask the court to take judicial notice of all the introductory testimony from Officer Croteau as we've been doing.
Any objection to the court taking judicial notice of that introductory testimony, Mr. Lau?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. I will take judicial notice of the prior introductory testimony from Officer Croto, go ahead, Mr. Reynolds.
So Officer Croto, I want to draw your attention again to October the 22nd, a little bit later in the afternoon at 3:18 p.m. Were you continuing to do some parking enforcement at 290 Pawnee?
Yes,
Is 290 Pawnee in the city of Boulder, state of Colorado?
yes.
I'm going to share what's been marked as prosecution exhibit 11. If you wouldn't mind, Officer Croto, just taking a look at the images that I'm about to share on the screen. Do you recognize these images that I'm sharing right now?
Yes.
How is it that you recognize them?
Those are going to be the photos and the back office printout for that citation for this vehicle.
Do they appear to be a fair and accurate representation of the scene as it appeared on October 22nd?
Yes.
I move the courts to admit prosecution exhibit 11 into evidence.
Mr. Lau, any objection to Exhibit 11?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, Exhibit 11 will be admitted.
Officer Croto, this first image here is of a license plate that you took on October 22nd. Why would you take this image of the license plate?
It was to prove that this temporary license plate was expired for this vehicle.
And who did this license plate come back registered to?
Mr. Michael Lau.
And was it which vehicle was it affixed to?
It's going to be on a large blue box truck, an Isuzu box truck.
I don't have any other questions for Officer Croto.
Mr. Lau, any questions for Officer Croto?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I turn on my video. So, Mr. Officer, so this one, of course, is the same exact vehicle in the exact location that you issue a ticket to on October 14th, October 14th, and that was ticket ending in 083. My question specifically is that the ticket for, 241, the amount is $50. Is there no escalation in for expired tag or improper tag type of thing? The question is probably more for my benefit.
Okay,
Yeah,
is this
it's okay.
illegal?
No, yeah, there's going to be no
storage facility?
escalation for that specific
Is that where we're
violation.
headed?
It's just a flat $50 fee.
I
Thank
think
you,
he's just letting
Mr.
other
Officer.
people pay him
I have no further questions, Your
to
Honor.
illegally park
Okay,
their
any other
crap.
questions from you, Mr. Reynolds?
No, and we rest.
People have rested their case. Mr. Lau, did you want to put on any evidence?
No, Your Honor.
All right,
Sir, can I just point out one thing is that when there are late fees added, there can be one late fee added to those tickets. So he might see.
we'll address that when we're done, but thank you. Okay, closing arguments from the people.
We wait, Your
Do you
Honor.
want to give a closing argument, Mr. Lau?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I have heard the evidence in this case and looked at People's Exhibit 11. It does show that a vehicle with a license plate with expiring on September 20th of 2024, the registered owner came back to be Mr. Lau. This was for an Isuzu box truck. And of course, this was on October 22nd of 2024, so that the temporary registration was expired at that time. I will find the defendant guilty. With respect to the argument that was previously raised about merger, I think I've addressed that previously, but this case, although there may have been a prior registration charge for that same vehicle, it wasn't on the same date. And for that reason, the charges do not merge. So I will find the defendant guilty of that charge. And then we have one more case to take up, which is case number 7404242. And this is for a valid license plate charge from October 22nd of 2024 at 3:19 p.m. And are the parties ready to proceed? Mr. Reynolds
Yes, Your Honor.
and Mr. Lau.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
Right. Opening statement from the people.
We wait.
Mr. Lau, did you want to give an opening statement?
No, Your Honor.
Been a
First
long
witness for
time.
the people.
W,
Thank you, Your Honor. We would call Officer Sean Croto.
Mr. Croto, I'll just remind you that you're still under oath.
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead, Mr. Reynolds.
And we would ask the court to take judicial notice of the introductory testimony of Officer Croto as we have it.
Mr. Lau, any objection to me taking judicial notice of that testimony?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll take judicial notice of the prior introductory testimony from Officer Croto. Go ahead whenever you're ready, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Croto, once again, draw your attention to October 22nd of last year, a little bit later in the afternoon at 3:19. Did you find yourself at 290 Pawnee then?
Yes.
And is 290 Pawnee in the city of Boulder, state of Colorado?
Yes.
I'm going to draw your attention to what's been marked as Prosecution Exhibit 12. And if you wouldn't mind, please, just taking a look at the images I'm about to share on the screen. And do you recognize these images?
Yes, they appear to be pictures in the back office printout for the citations written to that vehicle that day.
And I'm going to, so they appear to be a fair and accurate representation of the scene as it appeared on October the 22nd.
Yes.
I move to admit Prosecution Exhibit 12.
Any objection to Exhibit 12? Mr. Lau?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Exhibit 12 would be admitted.
Officer Croteau, this image here of a license plate, why would you take a picture of this license plate?
It was to prove that this vehicle was in violation that day.
Violation of?
For not having, the temporary plates were expired, so I gave it a citation for that, for valid plates.
And who did this license plate come back registered to?
Mr. Michael Lau.
I don't have any other questions for Officer Croteau.
Okay, Mr. Lau, any questions in cross-examination for Officer Croteau?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, any other evidence for the people?
We rest.
People have rested their case. Mr. Lau, did you want to put on some evidence in this case?
No, Your Honor.
Closing arguments. Mr. Reynolds?
We waive.
Mr. Lau, did you want to make a closing argument on this one?
No, Your Honor.
And I will find the defendant guilty of this charge. Officer Croteau testified in my mind credibly that on October 22nd of 2024, he took a photograph which is depicted in People's Exhibit 12 of a license plate on a vehicle that was registered to Mr. Lau. The plates were expired on August 8th of 2024. So the court will find the defendant guilty of the violation of Section 7623 of the Boulder Revised Code. Okay, I think that takes care of the trials for all of these charges. There were 11 charges in which the court found the defendant guilty and one charge where the prosecution dismissed the allegation. Those charges have been resolved. They obviously we haven't talked about payment. I don't necessarily have to have that conversation today. I think the next step in our process could be discussing payment obligations for you, Mr. Lau, but if you're not in a position to discuss payment, we could just talk about setting up the next round of cases for trial. But I want to give Mr.
Yes,
Reynolds.
Your Honor.
I'm going to finish that sentence. I was going to give Mr. Reynolds a chance to consult with the other officers here. And I'm just looking at, I have a sheet that has all of the tickets that we resolved today on it. And that takes us up through October 22nd. And if you all recall, we were trying to do this as efficiently as we possibly could. I think we did a pretty good job today. It took us just a little bit less
Yes, Your Honor,
than
we
2
did.
hours, about an hour and a half today to get through 12 citations. So we could do a similar number going forward, but if Mr. Reynolds, did you have something else that you wanted to
I
suggest?
apologize. I was maybe operating it. I thought this was it, but maybe I was being way optimistic.
You may have been. We're close. There are, as I see it, now this was a printout that I got from Mr. Reynolds. Let's see if we can pull up.
Mr. Ogden?
Or I mean, did I say Reynolds? I meant Ogden. I apologize. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's still 8 citations that are left
Plus
that
what
have
I'm
not been
receiving today.
addressed. The most recent of those was issued on December 13th of 2024. That is case number that ends in the digits 700345. So nothing has changed since the last court date, which is good news. That means there haven't been any new citations that have been issued. So that's good for you, Mr. Lau.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We still have several to address. They're from October 24th, October 29th, November 21st, December 2nd, and December 13th. So not quite as many, but a number of different dates. I obviously don't know if it's going to be the same officer that would be having issued those. Officer Croteau.
I think it's all Officer Croteau.
Okay, so we could, at this point, schedule the last trial date and have all of those go to trial that day. And then that will still give you and Mr. Lau the opportunity to have ongoing conversations, Mr. Reynolds. We could set the trial date. If there's some resolution of those, you could notify the court in advance and we could cancel the trial. But that way, at least while we've got everybody here, we could get that scheduled. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
Yes, Your Honor, because I do have one couple quick questions, because I noticed on the Ames report, I actually have been assigned an account number that ends in 590. So sorry, I did
Yes.
not copy the whole account number.
That's right.
So if that would, should I go to the clerk's window and so forth and ask, would they be able to pull up practically all the information, the tickets and fines and so forth?
Yes.
I can
Oh.
be better prepared when we have the discussion on the payment down the road?
Yes, you
Because
definitely
we
could
have some
appear.
since June.
Say that again?
We had some since June, or maybe even earlier, June of 2024, maybe a few even earlier than that. So
You don't get hearings on those.
to prepare myself for
He's told you
near
that
future discussion
500 times.
with the
Yeah.
court on the payment of the fines, I need to know whether what is the easiest way for me to get that information other than emailing Mr. Greg Alden.
So I'm turning to Sabrina here, who's our court clerk. She does it with the parking. So you heard the question. Basically, he's got tickets dating all the way back to June 4th. He's wanting to have, what kind of information are you wanting for each of those?
Of course, the more, fairly general, the amount, the code violation, whatever, and then whether, of course, the June 4th one, I'm sure for by now would have certain late fees and so forth.
Yes.
Because
So let me make a
the last
suggestion.
court hearing, I'm sorry?
I was going to say, let me make a suggestion here, Mr. Lau, is that since Sabrina's here, she can work with Greg and try to figure out the best way to email to you or to print out, and you could come by and pick up. Because I'm looking at kind of the ticket information, which is pretty all encompassing. It shows the financial amount that's owed for each one. We could literally, for each ticket, print that out, or if there's a way to put it into an email so he'd have a digital copy, that might be easier.
I might be able to edit it and just take, because he only needs the information for the balances that are still outstanding. Is that correct? He doesn't need the paid in full ones, or does he want those?
Looks like there's a few that have been paid in full. Why don't I leave that to you all to discuss? Well, I've got witnesses here I can release, but I do want to certainly give you the opportunity to do that. But let's get a date set. And then you can call back either this afternoon and have a follow-up conversation with Sabrina. Whatever you work out with our staff here is fine as far as what they can do that's most efficient and meets your needs. But let's see if we can get that last trial date scheduled.
Yes.
So
While that's happening, Your Honor, may the other officer in the courtroom identify himself, because it is so small I can barely see.
Fred, you don't mind me?
Flesh. Officer 374.
Thank you.
Okay, so today is February 11th. I'm thinking it worked fairly well to do this on a Tuesday. Mr. Reynolds, I'm looking at the 25th of February. That might be too soon, but that'd be the first date that it looks like it's fairly clear in the
I
afternoon.
would like to keep taking these because of my institutional knowledge.
Sure.
I just have a meeting that afternoon that I would like to not miss.
We can schedule it for, let's look at the next Tuesday.
The following Tuesday of the March 4th.
We have some VARs that are scheduled at 2:30 that day. March 11th might be 1 month from now, might be the next best Tuesday. But if you're anxious to move them forward before then, we could do that.
I'm fine with March 11th, Your Honor.
How does March 11th look on your calendar, Mr. Lau? Would we do the same time? We do a 1 o'clock trial, March 11th.
He'll have double the tickets. by then.
Of course, that date and time would be fine. We are able to move quicker because I've learned so much from attending court, and
You learned
also
that you're
as the
losing?
court would notice, I also do not keep repeating myself, asking the same questions. So thank you, Your Honor.
Good. We're all getting we're getting practice at how we try cases, and you're getting practice in learning how this all works. So we're going to schedule this for March 11th. We're going to schedule, and I'll just make clear what tickets we're scheduling, but it's the remaining tickets that working their way up. So starting with the one that ends in 704244, and then all the way up to the last one
Issued on the 13th.
on the 13th of December. So there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 citations that will go to trial that day. So we'll create yet another full court case. Greg, does that make sense? And that one more full court case and we'll schedule that for trial at 1 p.m. on March 11th. And then I'm just going to continue the same pitch that I've given to the parties before. I'm more than amenable to you all working out a resolution that might not resolve not only the citations, but also a payment process and a way to resolve that. And Mr. Reynolds that probably doesn't have as much information as you have, Mr. Lau, as how I go about trying to reduce balances for people once those balances are established. But it certainly could be in his domain to find a way to resolve everything that's pending with a payment plan. The good news is, I think one piece of good news from my perspective is there haven't been any new violations since December 13th. That's 2 months ago. So that's the first question I always ask when people come in and want me to make some kind of concession on their balance is, are you still getting tickets? You're not anymore. So that's a good step. And that may be able to persuade Mr. Reynolds and you all to have some conversations on how you get from where you are today with a big balance of $3,298.75 to a lesser balance. And so that maybe you all can have a conversation about that before the next court date, but it gives you a month to have that conversation.
Thank you, Your Honor. Of course, as you
That
may
won't
recall, I have actually paid the court approved fee on one of those citations in the past, and I have been trying to address additional ticket costs as well. While I was not able to have mutually agreeable arrangement with Mr. Reynolds prior to trial today, I wish to at least continue the effort to once again streamline things and maybe make it a relatively swift and fast-moving Tuesday. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. We will see you on March 11th then, Mr. Lau. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And are you going to want to appear by Zoom? It worked out fine in my mind. So if you want to appear by Zoom, you could do that again.
Yeah, yes, Your Honor, but it's also because I can hardly move.
I'm sorry to hear that.
But thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Take care of yourself, Mr. Lau.
Thank you.
We can go off the record. And here's my just notes for the.
Oh, good Lord. There we have it. I'm thinking Alyssa's telling me we get a new character in the next video. I'm thinking tomorrow night late. I'm not sure, but I think that we'll probably do that. I don't know how long it is or any of that business yet. I got to know how all this ends. I really do. Mr. Lau. He is absolutely infuriating. All right. That was back-to-back streams. I'm beat. Y'all behave yourselves. I'm not bailing you out, especially not on Easter. Talk to you soon.